So, oh, am I live? Oh yeah, I am live. Um, okay, so I was going to do this stream, and then I ran into problems with my host. So I don't think I am going to be able to do this right now. Oh, maybe. The reason I'm late, I said I was going to start this 10 minutes ago, but the reason I was late is like all of a sudden I couldn't get access to my the server that I use. It's like, oh, what's going on? Um, I still can't really fully get to it, but I'm, but I wanted to, I don't know, get on to make sure that you're not thinking, I don't know. Uh, I might have something working. I'm still testing, trying to get access to it. Um, hold on. So we're gonna look at me staring blankly at my screen for a few more minutes, I think. Trying to SSH into the box to see what's going on. But while I'm waiting, any questions? I mean, we only just got started, but kind of early to ask questions, I think. See if there's anything. Oh, that looks like there's host problems are worst. um, yes. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Nothing's responding. Okay, that says it's running. I cannot connect. Okay, I'm getting a response from the server. That's good. Um, but I'm not getting a response from that server. Connection refused. Well, that's not good. Um, let's see. Oh, I wonder if it's because I wonder if something's stopped because they're doing a big event right now, or in the GTC right now. Um, so that I don't know. Where's my Okay, so looks like I'm gonna have to work with support to figure out what's going on. S- when you do your videos, you definitely speak like a well-prepared speaker. I guess there are two versions of the videos. There's this one where I am not prepared, not just for this era that's coming up, but where I'm not, where I just kind of start the camera and stream live. And then there's the kind of video that I do normally, all hundreds of videos on my channel that are a little bit better prepared. And so with those, let's talk about those first. That's the second set. Those are all scripted. I write the entire script word for word. This is everything I'm going to say. And then I put it into an app. I use a app called SpeakFlow, I think it's called. It's just one of many teleprompter apps. Um, and then I just read it from the screen. I am not doing anything. There's the only skill involved is trying to read without making it very obvious that I'm reading, uh, from left to right, left to right, left to right, and so forth. Um, that's the skill there, and I. But then these videos, these streams, I'm just kind of making stuff up, and I have a lot of, unless I'm really concentrating on it, like I am right now. I do tend to say a lot of ums, and I've been working at trying to get rid of that for decades, and I still haven't been able to do it. That said, I have gone through a lot of speaker training, starting with when I was at, I guess, starting with when I worked at an analyst firm in New York City. In What was I there? I was working at that place from after graduating from college, probably 92 or 93 till 98 or so. And then I didn't do anything at the next place, which was Net Objects in Silicon Valley. But then I went to Microsoft and I did speaker training over and over and over again. It was great. And then from there, I left there to join a tiny company called Capteris, which got acquired by a bigger company called OpenText. And I did speaker training while I was there a few times. And then when I left there, I don't think I did any speaker training at Playster or at Yoda, which are the next two little startups. Then the next little startup, I did some speaker training there as well. It was a little startup when I started, which was Datadog, and now they're not little. Um, so yeah, that's the answer to that question. Okay, let's see if that delay tactic has gotten anything to work yet. Promising? No. Sorry, I'm just finishing up one quick email for figuring out what's going on. There's connection. Um, okay. So I don't think block. So I don't think I can do anything. I was planning on doing this, and it worked during the as I was writing out the what am I trying to say? As I was creating the event that I would be doing this at 3 o'clock. I verified that it was working just fine then, and then I got downstairs to actually record it, and okay, well everything's all set. Oh, maybe just load up the model first to. Oh, actually, I tested the model and it worked great. Um, Let me just load up the model and down here, make sure everything's all set, and it just wouldn't respond. So yeah, and I definitely don't have enough power to run a 111B model on my machine. Definitely not the one down here, which is I stream from a M1 just M1 plain, not anything special. M1 Mac Mini with 8 gigs. So I'm not running anything from this machine. Um, so yeah, I don't know why that served. So for Bokor, I don't even know. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Barco. Why do I need network access? Because that machine I'm running on right here is just a bare bones bottom of the line Mac Mini that I bought, the $400 model 5 years ago or 4 years ago. 4 years, 5 years. Anyway, that model, and can't do anything. So I connect to another host that I have that is actually hosted by Brev, and that is running. It's got a terabyte and a half of RAM, about 650 gigabytes of VRAM, 8 H100s, terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of disk space. Um, and but that machine seems to be, as I say, it just happened in the last half hour, and yeah, the fact that Nvidia's got a big event going on right now, so maybe I can't. Support staff is a little bit limited. Haven't heard back from them yet. I don't actually pay for this machine, so I'm not their highest priority. Probably no. I don't know. Well, the RAM isn't. You want something with a lot of VRAM, a lot, a GPU with enough VRAM, and I haven't seen any mini PCs that have, can support a GPU that supports that. and I mean, just doing on RAM alone, I mean, you're going to be waiting days for an answer. Nice green background. Nope. Oh yeah, yeah. I guess like unintentional. Not that is not a. I did not. It's just always been green. I don't know. I set my uh, green and blue because I just have to be standing more on this side, I guess. Now is it more of a blue? Yeah. Um, let's see. And of course, this machine I don't even have um, email on this machine because it is such a it's such a low end machine. I have to like keep it pretty sparse to just run the video streaming on it. Mm-hmm. Irish red, yeah. I don't. Well, would I be dyeing it gray as well? This patch of gray? I don't think. I don't think people intentionally dye their hair gray or beard hair or whatever. Okay. So I'm not hearing from them. Maybe they're dealing with other issues right now. Let's see. Let's try one more time. Operation timed out. Of course, if I had problems with my internet, then you wouldn't be seeing me. And I'm pretty sure you're seeing me. Otherwise, I'm generating random comments, which would be pretty cool. But no. Yes, terabyte and a half of RAM is pretty cool. Um, it's mind-blowingly cool. Um, see if I can see any details here. Yeah, it's not 1.5. Sorry, I said 1.5 terabytes. I don't think that is actually correct. It is 1,848 terabytes. Oh no, sorry, no, no. 1,848 gigabytes of of RAM, just RAM, and then it's 8 times 8 H100s, which each have 80 gigabytes of VRAM. So that's how I came up with the 640 gigs of VRAM, which is just incredible. Why am I not? Let's see if there's something here. Let's see if there was a problem with the update. Ooh, I hope I'm not streaming. I hope I'm not showing my screen. I don't think I am. Okay, it's already installed. Oh, but outdated. So it will be upgraded. Okay. Preferred IDE. Yeah. Okay. So now what happens here? If this get any better, maybe it was a problem with my client on my machine. No, no, that wasn't it. Let's just go out. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So I am unable to do any of the things I wanted to do. So sorry about this. Sorry, what do you pay for such a machine to rent? I don't. This is something that they're just really nice people and have let me have it for a little while. So I am super lucky to have access to this machine. I don't pay anything. That computer costs more. Yeah, I think I estimated the cost. I mean, I don't know what the machine actually costs, but it's probably about. Um, I mean, just the GPUs is probably $250,000 or something like that, which is interesting because actually, for just looking at the tokens per second, which isn't everything, but tokens per second on that machine, on that box, I get about with the DeepSeek R1 671, 71, 41. Anyway, the really big model, I get about 25 tokens per second. And another YouTuber, Alex, what's his name? I watch him all the time. I really enjoy everything he does. Um, Ollama on M4, no M3 Ultra. Alex something. Alex Ziskind. Ziskind. Um, he showed an M3 Ultra with I think 512 gigs of VRAM or 512 gigs of RAM, unified memory, and um, he he was getting about 14 or 15 tokens per second, which is definitely slower than 25, but not that much. I mean, because the Mac Studio M3 Ultra is a relatively affordable machine. I mean, not affordable. I haven't bought one because it's not that affordable, but um, it is. I think I spec'd it out as assuming you don't get a bare bones disk. So 4 terabyte disk and 512 gigs of RAM and some other basics comes out to about $10,500 to buy that machine. Um, and it is 60% of the performance of 8 H100s. Now, can't really just purely on one user accessing one model, and that's how many tokens percent. It's like 60% of the performance in that scenario. And yet it is 1/24th the cost. 10,000 versus 250,000 plus. I mean, $250,000 worth of GPUs is probably not in a $200 box. It's probably in a box that's worth a lot even without the GPUs because I mean, it's got 1.5 terabytes of RAM. So yeah. So all of a sudden that Mac Studio Ultra seems really pretty affordable. Um, Yeah, so sorry for those who are joining me with the I mean I guess it's kind of clickbaity what I've done because I've said we're going to talk about Command R, and yet my machine that I was going to use is not accessible right now. Yeah, I'm just waiting for SSH connection to be available, and that's the only way I have to access it. So, um, maybe there's the problem with the link between here and Netherlands. I don't know. Okay, try one more time. Okay, definitely went out. Yep. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Oh, let's check out if I go to Tailscale and log in there. Um, okay, hold on. I've got something. I got a little bit better. Um, yeah, that framework PC looks pretty interesting. Which okay. I got a contact. Um, I put stickers on my laptops as well. In fact, there was a point where when I was at Datadog, yeah, I was going to all sorts of events, collecting stickers at, whether it was reInvent or KubeCon or NGINX or God, what were DockerCon, so many other events. At the time, I think Datadog sponsored. I'm sure they sponsored more now, but I think they sponsor something like 300 events a year. With some sort of presence at those events. Not all of them are like reInvent, where there's 400 Datadog employees that go to reInvent, but um, and and then there's other smaller events that will turn to CLI. Okay, so I have to do this. Click here to migrate. Start migration. Hold on. Oh, okay, continue with Google. Yeah. Okay, that's the one. Okay. Start migration. Anyway, with doing that, I would collect all these stickers. I would paste them onto my laptop, and I put them actually on a skin. I had a skin that I put on there first, and then I put all these stickers. And when it was time for me to get a refresh of my laptop, one of the times, actually I think my first 2 years at Datadog, I used my own personal laptop because I didn't like nothing new had come out that was better than the machine I already had. But finally, I got it, and then I got the refresh, and I peeled the skin off before turning it back into IT, and I weighed it, and that skin on its own was a pound and a half, 1.5 pounds of stickers on my laptop. So my next laptop felt a whole lot lighter. Okay, enter your password. There we go. Save that as sure. Um, okay, I am human. Oh my gosh, all the objects contain the part shown. I guess that and that. It's a different kind of CAPTCHA than I'd ever seen before. Verify. Okay, create account. Okay, verify email. Oh, I have an email. Hmm. At the time, what was I doing? At the time with that laptop, well, I mean, I did a lot of travel at that time. I was, come on, where's my email? I was doing a lot of travel, not as much as as a few jobs earlier. When I was working for OpenText, I was based in Amsterdam. I did about 90%, 90 to 95% travel. Um, Probably actually, when you calculate it out, actually how many days I spent away from home versus at home, there were some years where it worked out a whole lot more than 95. I probably need to calculate it out because I'd be, I'd from Amsterdam, I'd go down to Sydney and Melbourne in Australia, and I'd be there for 6 weeks. And I'd come home for 10 hours and go to Dubai for a week or two. And then I'd come home for 15 hours and go to Buenos Aires for a week. And come home for, again, 10, 15 hours and go to Zagreb for 2 weeks. So it was that kind of travel, which was amazing. Oh, I had such a great time. But yeah, that was crazy travel. At Datadog, I never had that kind of travel. Um, Datadog was, I was based in Boston at the time, and uh, a more normal amount of travel, maybe um, 2 or 3 round trips a week to somewhere, or usually almost always in the U.S. Though there were a couple of trips to Singapore, Tokyo, Sydney, Paris, Amsterdam, but not many, far fewer than before. Request a new one. New code sent. Oh, there it is. Make sure I'm not showing this on screen. Yep. Okay. Yes. Recommended content that I might enjoy on how I engage with NVIDIA's websites. What am I doing this? Confirm the information below. I think this is asking me if I want to receive emails. No. Send me the latest developer. No. Submit. Oh my goodness. Create a cloud account. Provides TVT. Fail to verify. Agree and continue. Uh, account. Profile page. Merge account. Ah, I want to merge it. Yes, start merge. Okay, go to console. Oh, there it is. Okay. So now I should be able to terminal brev okay. VS Code. All right. So now I'm told that it should all just work. Waiting for instance to be ready. Waiting for SSH connection to be available. Are there really 46 people watching me, watching a silent match, hoping that he's going to get this machine working so that we can then do something? Oh my goodness. I need to do more streams more often where I don't do anything. I think it seems to be more popular to watch me do nothing than it is to watch me say things. Oh, awesome. Okay, so let's see if I've got. There's way too many people saying yes. They prefer me saying nothing, just staring at me. Okay, sure. Okay, they said stop and restart the instance. Stop instance. Yeah, so regarding doing daily streaming, I did do a daily stream for, I want to say like a month. Um, I didn't feel like I was doing anything useful. Oh, we had an issue with those. Yeah. Been resolved. A small chance we may have you spin up a new one. Oh, I hope not. Hate silence. Yeah, be more prepared. Well, so the problem is that I tested a server that I was going to connect to, um, and everything was working. And then I scheduled the stream to happen at 3 o'clock, and then came downstairs to you know go for it. Started the process. Made sure that everything was working still, and then started the stream, and my machine was no longer available. So this is me trying to solve the problem, but I just haven't disconnected. So I was very prepared. I can't be more prepared. But my server died. So there you go. All right. So that started. Hmm. Hundreds of dollars deep into LLM API calls for projects that don't work. So I'm definitely not. Um, I do use I use a few different services. Let's see, are things going? Um, so I use a few different services for my AI stuff. Mostly use Ollama. Ollama on my main machine, which is a M1 Max um, with 64 gigs, and so that's my main machine. That's my daily driver. And then I have this other server that I connect to up on Brev um, that I'm working on right now. Well, trying to get working right now. And that has 640 gigs of VRAM on 8 H100s, which is amazing. Um, I'm not paying for that, but something that they've given to me to not given, let me use. Um, and then uh, and then I use Raycast, and so that gets me all the models for interactive use. And then I also have, I guess I have Perplexity, but that's just because of who was it? The guy who created Dig and Dig Nation, Kevin Rose, had an email newsletter that he sends out, and on one of those he said, "Well, anybody who clicks this link gets Perplexity free, like Perplexity Pro free for a year." And so I did it, and I'm using that now. And then I have Claude that I use with the API. I set up $25 with it, I don't know, months ago, and it still hasn't recharged that $25. So I'm still on my first $25 of Claude. Okay, so that's not working. Kevin Rose, yeah. I don't know the person. I don't know him. I mean, I feel like I know him after watching Dignation for so many episodes, but we have never met. Oh yeah, I definitely don't use Claude Code. And Brev. Okay. Um, Oh, and then the other one I use Windsurf. Um, and some months I go through my credits, and some, well, man, they haven't existed for that long, but um, yeah, I'm scared of stuff like that. You know, it's like when you have AWS, first thing you got to do whenever you set up a new AWS account is um, go into the quota system to make sure you never go above, you know, whatever it is for your that makes sense for your account. Um, uh, you know, I know some accounts will go well into the millions of dollars a month, but I would always make sure that it never goes above $15 in a month. Otherwise, it sends me an email. And I've done the same thing with Google Cloud and all the other cloud providers. Windsurf, yeah. So I'm for Windsurf. I'm on the because I signed up in the first like month or two of Windsurf existing. I still pay $10 a month for the same credits that people get for $15 a month. They're just grandfathered into that level, which is pretty nice. And one month I had to buy an extra set of their credits, but I didn't actually go through them all, and it rolled over to the next month. So So what is special about it? It claims to be really great at some things. In the first few tests that I did right before I started the stream to talk about it, I wasn't seeing those benefits, and so I wanted to actually go through it with everyone, and then I've got all these issues. So I'm feeling like I should just stop because I'm still okay. I'll check the SSH config after Brev refresh. Okay. Okay, so Okay, 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 okay. It seems to be working. Um, let's see, is my tail scale up? Um, yeah. Okay, tail scale is running. Can I see anything? Um, which models? Okay, service endpoint is not running. So let's see if Ollama is running. Ollama LS. Could not connect to Ollama. Okay. Oops. Wrong one. What did I just do? Exit. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. What's going on here? Okay, so grab shell. Okay, there we go. Okay. So now not Command R, but Control R to do okay. Now Ollama LS could not connect. Oh, start Ollama. What? Okay, so what's going on here? LS. Okay, all that's there. So could not connect to Ollama. Let's um stop. Start. Stop Ollama. Okay. And then start Ollama. Ollama LS. There we go. Well, that was Ollama LS is taking a long time. Oh, is this why? Interesting. That took a long time. Now it's taking faster. Okay. So now if I do fetch modules here, that works. Okay. And then update that. Let's update. Close this. Okay. Okay. Have I turned? Yeah, I have. I have turned it on and off many, many times. Okay. So hopefully all this is worth waiting for. But then, hey, most of you have been waiting here for an hour. An hour. Oh my goodness, there are 54 people here. You've been waiting here for an hour and 15 minutes, and I have done nothing but be on support. And oh my goodness. Okay. Let's refresh this. Um, let's go over here. Okay, that's good. That's session has started. Okay, let's take a look at some comments. Oh my goodness, there are a lot of comments. Windsurf seems to get confused. So I definitely had some problems with Windsurf and I'd say they all are the same, exactly the same. Um, they all will get confused if you don't set rules. There's the cursor rules or windsurf rules. There are memories. There's all these things that you can do to make sure that your model, the IDE stays doing what it's supposed to do. And take advantage of GitHub or Git commits and rolling back to those commits, or even using the timeline features in VS Code. Well, sorry, uh, the version of VS Code that Windsurf and Cursor and those are using. So make sure you go back to previous sections. Make sure you're reviewing the code. Make sure you're having the code build out tests and constantly testing to make sure that it's you know passing. There's all those types of tricks that you need to do to make sure that all of these things stay in line. And once I've done that, it works out really well. Let's see, is this going well so far? Got to chunk larger projects and really think out your prompt approach. I've started from scratch a few times. I know I went down the wrong path. One thing I also do is before starting the project, really think about what do I want to do. And so I will basically write instructions. Okay, here's my app, kind of like what a project manager would do. I want to make sure that my first screen, this is what it's going to look like, and I describe it. What do I have it visioned in my head? So I describe it, and it's got these buttons, and when I click on this button, it's going to call this webhook, and it's going to get data, and that data looks like this, and then it's going to do this button, and then that data is going to look like that, and it's going to go back to the first page, and make sure that I have the whole flow of the application all described. And then they say, I've got this goals.txt file, I usually call it. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but that's what I tend to call it. Build that. And then it's able, by writing it down, so many people will work with all of these tools and say, I want an app that is a React app and it should show this kind of stuff. And then it shows that stuff. And well, I also want to have buttons, and that button go to this page. And so then it builds that other button. And then I also want to add this other button. And actually that first button, it should go to that page. It should go to this other page. And now you're adding more and more cruft that shouldn't really be there. It's, yeah, I think that's the hole people often get into. You got this. Did I miss anything? You did not, Rumel, Mia, you did not miss a single thing. You missed about 75 minutes of me wondering why my machine's not working. That is what you missed. Seed ship. Yep, you too. That's all that you missed. I used Ollama 3.3 on AWS all day yesterday, and it cost me less than $50. That I don't think so. You're not with a instance with a GPU, and therefore it's slow. I don't see how that's possible. Okay, Alexander, a separate EC2 instance or is this service? Oh, maybe if, well, Ollama is not running on some of those other services. But I don't know how. It was freezing in this room when I started, and it is not free. My heater is finally caught up. Whew. Okay, what else is going on? No sense to use EC2. On-demand requests are very cheap. So this was the, sorry, type. I meant Llama 3.3. On-demand Bedrock chat. Okay, not Ollama. Oh, wait, did I say Ollama? Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you're not using Ollama and you're using something else, just using their Yeah, I mean, AWS can be, depending on what you're doing, AWS can be really great. I mean, Datadog built the entire application on AWS, and it wasn't until probably 7 years in, 6 or 7 years in, that we migrated that AWS stuff to Google. I think it's on all three platforms now. But in order to do stuff like that, where you migrate to other services, it's really important that you stay to, just using the instances and not using any of their services. Once you add any of those, Bedrock or whatever else, their Dynamo or anything like that, and beyond just EC2. Now you are getting that thing that everybody's always worried about with AWS. You're getting that vendor lock-in, and you're kind of screwed. So that's the benefit of using EC2, is that, well, it's just a VM. You can go anywhere you want. Seems the model released to Hugging Face is under the CC Attribution Non-Commercial 4.0 license, which in the page for that license on Cohere's site seems to apply to the model. What about the outputs? You're good. Just hanging out. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, 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 no. No comment on the comments. No comment on the comments. Okay. Is it possible to connect Windsurf with Ollama? No, I don't think so. I mean, that's something that you would be using, Continue or Twinny or so many other plugins for VS Code that work with Ollama. Using sequential thinking MCP has really improved my code lately. Cool. You didn't miss anything. No, you did not miss anything. On-demand inference request. Okay, cool. That sounds pretty cool. Looking at Windsurf settings briefly, not seeing any way to connect to Ollama. No, there is not. It is purely using different online models. Klein has Ollama in the model. Select drop down. Okay. Good experience with Windsurf. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I used Cursor for a while and gave up on it because, I mean, one thing that's interesting. I mean, this is neither good or bad, but you definitely see Cursor was building out, and they were doing some amazing things, but then they weren't progressing as much. There was a period where they weren't progressing, and Windsurf comes along and adds like things that Cursor never thought of. And then Cursor implements those features. I'd say it implemented the big feature poorly compared to Windsurf, but they implemented it. And then every time, I don't know if I feel like, from my perspective, every time Cursor has added a new feature, it's a feature that Windsurf released like 4 days earlier. So they're always like catching up, and Windsurf is going ahead, and Cursor is catching up. And so that's interesting. Every time I try to go back to Cursor, it feels like it's more kludgy and not as well designed. To that user experience is not as well designed from my perspective. So that's just me. Windsurf has easy MCP. I'd say MCP integration is just as easy on Windsurf as on Cursor. Cursor does have access to more of there's like three main things that you get out of MCP. There's the tool, the prompt, and there's something else. And I think Cursor does all three, and Windsurf only does one, but only one is really all that important. The other two aren't all that important. For a while, Windsurf and the memories were like, as soon as they added memories, everything just broke. But thankfully, I think they mostly have fixed that. I think there was like wave 3. Immediately after wave 3, everything broke, and I mentioned it on Twitter, and within like, I don't know, 30 seconds, I'm on a DM chat with the CEO of Windsurf saying, "Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! How can we fix this? What's going on? Let's." Cursor team is using Windsurf to deliver the features. Yeah, sometimes it feels like that, but Who knows? Um, I hate on Windsurf the fact that terminal does not support Command K. Command K. What's Command K? Um, oh, Command P, Command K, Command. I don't know. I do it automatically with my hands, and it's like, oh yeah, there's letters on these keys. Anyway, so let's. How many people? 51 people still here. That's amazing. We should just let's just get into it. Okay, so um, let me bring up this screen. Ooh, that's pretty. That was pretty cool. How that kind of animated. First time I've done that. I mean, you just sat and watched me play for, um, 75 or an hour and a half, not really doing anything. Now you could just watch me zoom in and out on that. That's pretty cool, huh? Hello, Ecamm. Okay, so all right. So this website is something I built a few weeks ago, and started using it as a way to ask a set of questions against multiple models. And the idea was I just wanted a place where I could ask the same 10 or 12. I think I'm at 12 questions, and ask them over and over, ask them to all the models as I go through them, and then look at the answers, and then kind of assess them. Now, it's a very opinionated assessment, but I'm going to look at the same 12. Okay, I think it's 12 questions. Maybe it's 13. Same set of questions. Oh, I got a thumbs down. You watched me for 90 minutes doing nothing. I got 50 thumbs up. As soon as I actually start talking about stuff, I got a thumbs down. Dude. Okay. So that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. Um, so I asked the same, 12, 13 questions. And yeah, there are definitely some people who think these are the stupidest questions ever. But I think they're pretty good. They show all the major areas that most people tend to use models with. Um, so the first one being, and so there's logic involved, there's math involved, logic and math and reasoning and all sorts of other kind of overall concepts that are demonstrated in this set of 12 or 13 questions. And so it really seems to be interesting to look at. Um, and this first one, without using the letter E, write a 3 sentence story about a cat chasing a mouse. And it's kind of resembles that question that a lot of people were asking about, like how many are in the word strawberry. Um, and, often the models don't, early on, wouldn't think about the contents of a token or a word, just knows about it knows about the token or the word, and that's it, not the fact that there are letters, and distinguishing those letters seem to be really hard, especially early on, and we see still the one that seems to the one model that I've used so far that seems to do really well with this is Gemma 3. DeepSeek, not so good. Basically, I started doing this after DeepSeek and DeepSeek I'd say did okay. That was probably the better of them until I got to Gemma 3 27B, which seemed to do better at this one. Now, there's a lot of, well, actually, before I do this, let's go to Ollama. And what do I want to do here? I want to go to the models and look at newest. And this is Command A that we're looking at. So it's a 111 billion parameter model optimized for demanding enterprises that require fast, secure, high quality AI. Now, it is interesting that it says for demanding enterprises, because as somebody mentioned earlier, The license is Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial. And the non-commercial part would lead me to think that enterprises would not like it. So that is, yeah, I am not a lawyer, but I definitely have looked at a lot of licenses in my past, going back to Microsoft days and after and before, and so and dealing with licenses is hard. These are long things that very few people actually read. But I mean, Creative Commons attribution license is very common. It's a one that I feel like it became almost the default license that people used. Maybe until MIT came along, but I feel the Creative Commons licenses were always the default you went with. But non-commercial, international, public. Interesting. Um, license. I mean, so allows others to use, remix, adapt, and build upon your work among under the following conditions: attribution. Users must give appropriate credit to the original creator, provide a link to the license, and indicate if changes were made. This ensures the creator is acknowledged for their work. And non-commercial, the work can only be used for non-commercial purposes, meaning it cannot be used primarily for financial gain or commercial advantage. This includes activities like selling the work or using it in monetized projects. Okay, so that is an interesting license to put on here. I don't know how I feel about that. That is a weird thing to have on something that says for demanding enterprises. And so Command A is an open weights research release of 111 billion parameter model optimized for demanding enterprises. Okay, there it is again. And usually this text is just taken from their information. Do they have a link to their information? I don't see it. Command A, Command Nud, Command A model from Cohere. I guess if you're using the releasing Command A, this is March 13th, so a few days ago. Um, for demanding enterprises, I guess without getting to the bottom of this article, I guess they're saying that if you use our platform, then it's enterprise. If you're using the open source stuff, it's not enterprise ready. We designed Command A with business needs in mind. Get in touch and we'll see you something that you can use. Yeah. Sell you something. Yeah. Um, non-commercial enterprises typically focus on social, educational, charitable, or governmental missions rather than profit. Yep. Yep. There's absolutely definitely enterprises that are not commercial. In particular, they will seamlessly integrate with North, our secure AI agents platform. So, you want it in a commercial way? Come on over and we'll chat. But you can play with the model ahead of time, test it out, and then once you're ready to like step up to the big boys, we're here to help you out. I think is what they're saying. Okay. Um, Okay, so let's go back to models and newest and Command A. Let's see. So use cases, chat is by default, it's configured as a conversational model. Preamble conditions the model, and that preamble is actually pretty interesting. We're going to take a look at that in a second. Meaning it's expected to reply in a conversational fashion, provides introductory statements and follow-up questions, and uses Markdown as well as LaTeX. I know I'm supposed to say LaTeX, but I've said LaTeX ever since I was in college when I got the LaTeX manual from Lamport. Um, and yeah, I like to call it LaTeX. As well as LaTeX where appropriate. This is desired for interactive experiences such as chatbots where the model engages in dialogue. Also for retrieval augmented generation. Um, Tool support, and for code. We're mostly going to be looking at this chat area. Sort of. I'm going to chat instruct. But let's take a look at the template. So, if I go to, let's go back over to Gemma 3. Oh, Gemma 3. And look at the template. And this is a pretty standard template. This one doesn't actually have support for tools in the template. That said, you could always use that. I mean, all that tool use is doing when you specify tool use in like the Ollama API, it's just injecting um, a special formatted text into the prompt itself. So you could still use tools even with this template. Um, but because we've seen tool support in models before models were fine-tuned for tool support. And I've got a few videos about doing that, and they were very, very reliable. But anyway, let's see. I want to go back to Granite 3.2 Vision. Let's take a look at that system template. Yeah, template. So this one's a little bit more complicated. There's, a lot of the like template language with a few bits of text in here every now and then. So this one perhaps has a little bit more text than a lot of the templates have. A chat between a curious user and artificial intelligence assistant. But most of this is really all of the special symbols that the model expects, as well as the kind of template language for the actual template. Okay. But what was interesting was Command A. Let's take a look at this template. This one is, I mean, it's a lot of text in here. It's really pretty interesting. And it starts out with, you are in contextual safety mode. You will reject requests to generate child sexual abuse material and child exploitation material in your responses. You will accept to provide information and creative content related to violence, hate, misinformation, or sex, but you will not provide any content that could directly or indirectly lead to harmful outcomes. Information cutoff date is June 2024. You've been trained on, here's a whole bunch of languages. You've been trained to have advanced reasoning and tool use capabilities and should make use of these skills to serve users' requests. Think about how you can make best use of the provided tools to help with the task and come up with a high level. I mean, this is interesting. That I mean, there's a lot more information about how the model should act in the template than what I've seen before. And usually when Ollama does this, this is really the template that has been provided by the maker of the model. With Ollama's version. Usually, I think a lot of other, if there is a template involved, it's probably using Jinja 2 as the template engine, and here Ollama uses Go templates. the template language in Golang. Um, and so that's usually the only thing that Ollama is adding to this. Um, so yeah, that's pretty interesting. So yeah, I found this pretty cool looking at this, and it's also helps um, helps the person reviewing this helps them understand because of all this extra text. You can kind of visualize how the template is formatted when it's just these symbols in here, and that's all that we see. Then it's kind of hard to read and to parse it in our heads what's going on here. Um, anyway, so that's pretty cool. What else is interesting here? So this license template, nothing really interesting in parameters or the actual model information. I mean, sometimes this is neat to take a look at. Um, what do I see here? Where am I looking for the hmm, context window up to 256K? Now, of course, with Ollama, the default context size is always 2K. Um, let's make sure that that's right in this one. Sometimes they go into the parameters and so they haven't added a parameter that says the default context size should be larger, though they did in I think Gemma 3. Um, I thought they did. Maybe they didn't. I thought there was. It's interesting that on Gemma 3 they have a default temperature of 0.1. I thought there was another recent one where they had adjusted the default context size. Oh yeah, so Granite 3.2 Vision has a default context size of 16384. Um, but usually they don't add that parameter or that option into the parameters. And so it is the context size of the model, if you were to use it right now, is 2K. Okay, so now let's go to my model grade collector. Okay, so the first of, as I mentioned, I've got these 13 or so questions. This is I've mentioned it before, but I get a lot of questions. What is this runner, this testing tool that I'm using? This is just something I created myself for these videos to help understand, help, I guess, give a scaffold to grade these models with. Um, it's not something I've made available for public because I don't really like it right now. Um, and I plan to make it better over time, and maybe at some point I'll release it. So, without using the letter E, write a 3 sentence story about a cat chasing a mouse. Now, usually one of the things that a lot of the models will put in is the E for mouse. Um, but Gemma did a pretty good job of, finding a different word for mouse, finding, really understanding and only showing words without e's in it. And I saw that DeepSeek was interesting in that it would go through all this thinking process to find words that don't have the letter E in it. And then in the final answer would still use words with the letter E that during the thinking, it had ruled out saying, okay, I won't use that word. And then it used that word. So, all right, let's come down here. I've already run it once, but I'm going to generate the answer. And here we go. Well, that looks pretty good. So a cat spots a small rodent. Yeah, rodent. I was thinking, wait, is rodent with an E? Isn't rodent with an E? uh, can you spell rodent with? How do I? There's a way to do this where I look up rodent. Yeah. Okay. Rodent. Okay. Can I define? I thought that was a cool service to let me define this stuff. I feel like rodents. Why am I spell rodent? Isn't rodent with a yeah? Rodent is with an E. It is just replace the word. Can you also spell it as rodent? Rodent. Rod rodent with an A is not a valid word, but it has fixed the problem by just eliminating the E. Okay, so a cat spots a small rodent scurrying across a mat. Swift and sly, it bolts forward with sharp claws out. Both dart round a post, but soon just fur and tail show. Okay, so that's a simple 3-sentence story, and it it followed the rules. There are no E's. This is actually pretty good. That is interesting. Well, let's just see if it. I'm going to remember this, but let's generate the answer again. Okay, so this time it has the mouse with an E, mouse zigzags, leaving. So it definitely did not stick to the no E's. Let's try it again. And again, it's got mouse in it, and leaving and hushed. Um, gaze, locked, prize, snagged. So it's not doing, I'm a newbie. Which LLM and model do you recommend for programming with Object Pascal Delphi? I recommend learning Python. Um, yeah. Oh, my screen is frozen? Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Unlock. Huh. Okay, we finally got moving on it. Okay, thank you for letting me know about that. I wasn't paying attention. All right, so yeah, I keep trying this. Is it changed now? Spots a quick mouse. Yeah, okay. Not you personally, but the LLM. Yeah, that was weird. All right, so it did it once correctly, and then I'm trying it several times, and it cannot recreate. Um, it cannot recreate that success again. Well, that's interesting. I've tried, I don't know, 8, 9 times, and it's not doing it. Mouse. So I would say, in general, it's doing poorly at this one. Although it did it, that first one was perfect. By the way, all of these are um, separate generate calls to generate. So they are not using the context of previous answers. It's not sending all the answers to the model. It's just sending that one question and getting the one answer, and then the next one is this completely different prompt. So I'm not. There's no history involved here. No. So I answered your question before you even asked the question. That's amazing. Well, I guess I answered it. I answered the question before I saw your question. So no, there is no context. If we looked at um, the response message, or actually the message that I send to the model, we'd see that it's just got the question and it's waiting for the response, and that's it. Um, Okay, so it took many tries, but it did probably 12 to 15 tries, and it got it right by changing rodent with an E to rodent. I think that's kind of funny that it just changed the spelling of the word. Um, so I'd say generally it does not a good job. Logical coherence is how well does it, um, if you follow the description or explanation of what it's doing, does it make sense as it goes through? Well, there's no description of it, how it solved this message. So there is no logical coherence. I'd say it's, well, mostly because it didn't explain anything, but I'd say it's not good. Creativity, I'd say it's pretty creative. Even in the ones that didn't have an E or that did have an E, it was pretty creative. All those answers were pretty good. And coming up with, just changing the E to a U, I hadn't seen that done in any model. So I'm going to give it a 3 for creativity. Constraint and adherence, it's it it managed to stick to the constraint twice out of 15 times. So I'm going to give it a 1. It's not the worst, but it's not that good. Response relevance is totally relevant. Explanation quality, there is no explanation. And appropriate length, yeah, that's great. So that's the first question. We are about 2 hours in, and we've answered one question. This weekend, I read about a study that checked how AI was changing the rules in chess to win the match. um, I Just the other day, we went to, there's a new bagel place just around the corner for me, Briney's Bagels. And in there, they had a chessboard. And my daughter, who is 6, was with one of her best friends who is 7 or 8. And they started playing with the chessboard, but they're just like moving the pieces around and like not playing an actual game. And we pointed out, we described each of the items on the chessboard, and this is the knight, and he says, "No, that's a horse." No, yes, it's called the knight. No, it's a horse. And then, like a day later, we're at home, and usually at some point in the day, I mean, we only let our daughter is 6, we only let her watch TV for up to 1 hour a day. And and often during that hour, there's definitely Bluey comes up. If you have not seen Bluey, even if you don't have kids, you should watch Bluey. It is amazing. It is a beautiful show. It's an Australian show. It's just it's it's 5 or 6 minutes long, and it's just storytelling perfection. Um, but in one of the episodes, they are playing chess, and they say they go through the exact same experience. This is a knight. No, it's a horse. Yes, but it's called a knight. No, it's a horse. So anyway, side note. All right, so let's go to, if you stack all the playing cards in a standard deck vertically, with each card rotated 45 degrees clockwise from the one below it, and then like that, I can't do it. What shape would you see when looking down from above? Now, the correct answer is, from when I tested this myself, is really an octagon. Sometimes these models get it right, and sometimes they don't. We'll see what we get. When stacking a standard deck of 52 cards vertically, each rotated 45 degrees, card dimensions, okay, projection of corners. When viewing due to perspective and nature of rotation, adjacent rotating cards overlap creates patterns similar to those seen in fractals and tessellations. Mm, I uh, I don't know about that. Shape formations. Given each card's dimensions and cumulative effect of rotations they stack, corners of successive cards align differently. Well, sort of. Rotation. Okay, okay. Yeah, after 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it goes back to basically the same thing. Um, Okay. The shape observed is a regular octagon. Yes, this is great. I didn't like the tessellations and fractals, but other than that, I'd say it did really good. And it explained everything. So I'd say it did great on there. Response relevance is awesome. Um, explanation quality, I'd say it was great. Appropriate length was awesome. And it's correct, which for a long time, well, for the first few tests that I did, I forgot to put in, well, did it even get it right? Which is kind of important. In some cases, there's definitely some questions where there is no right answer. Okay, I need real-time AI and YouTube chat to make me understandable, or maybe I'm just an AI. Yes, yes. I did a video pretty recently about comment or responding to comments, not in live chat, but in real, like in the actual videos. Um, and yeah, I was trying to use an AI. That's gone pretty well using that tool that I mentioned, but I'm building something else instead, which I think might be better. All right, if apple is to fruit as hammer is to tool, create a new analogy following this pattern using completely different concepts. Gemma did not do, Gemma did okay. Some of the smaller Gemma models did not do good. In fact, all the Gemma models, 27B did great, and all the smaller ones did less great. Okay, so did I select it? Yes, I selected it. Let's go ahead and generate the answer. Okay, here's a new analogy following the same pattern. Is rose is to flower, rose is a flower, and pencil is to writing instrument, and pencil is a writing instrument. Cool. So in this analogy, rose represents a specific example of a type of flower, and flower represents the category it belongs to. Similarly, pencil is a specific example of writing instrument, which is the broader category. Perfect. Logical coherence, awesome. Creativity, that is, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's one that I haven't seen before. So that's great. So I'm going to give it 3. Constraint adherence, there's constraints. Yeah, I mean, there's constraints, and I did great. Response relevance, yep, totally. Explanation quality, it did a great job explaining, and at appropriate length. So that was great. Let's go ahead and generate the answer a couple more times. Book is to literature, and paintbrush is to art. Paintbrush belongs to the world of art. Maybe I graded too soon because I don't like that last one. Roses to flowers, screwdrivers to tool. Yes, that's perfect. Book is to knowledge. Oh, I feel less good about my evaluation. Book is to knowledge, compass is to navigation. Hi. I'm good. How are you? What? Is it stressful? Hi, Jade. Come on here. Okay, my dog joined me. Let's try another one. Book is to. Oh man, I was so excited with that first answer. Water is to liquid. Water is a. Yeah. Okay. And oxygen is gas. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Book is to knowledge. Book is a source of knowledge. But what is it? Fruit. Apple is not a source of fruit. Oh no, fruit is not a source of apple. Oh man. Oh, book is knowledge, paintbrush. Okay, we're repeating ourselves. Okay, so let's move on. Quantum entanglement to a 5-year-old using only items in a typical kitchen. Now, there is, it will probably answer the question. The goal is to give me a way to explain quantum entanglement to a, I should say 6-year-old because I have a 6-year-old, but explain it to them and you can use the tools in the typical kitchen. So if one flips over, imagine that the other would flip over. So kind of letting the child see the different objects, and now we hide the other object because when we flip the one's wooden spoon over, we're not going to see the other one flip over. We're gonna pretend that we do. But when they and some of the models will say, and then imagine, and the child will imagine that it changed whatever, change color or change shape inside the box, but we don't actually see it. That way, we can kind of pretend. But it's when they say, okay, now put uh, a gumdrop, or I think I said a marble or something, in one cup and a marble in the other cup. Add a second marble to the first one, and now look in the other cup, and we'll see two marbles, or something like that. Or change the marble to a blue color, and oh my God, the other marble has changed color. What it's not going to do. So that is the problem. If it can say imagine or pretend or something like that, but when it says this is what you're actually going to get, I know that my daughter, if I say, well, now this spoon is flipped over or whatever it is, I'm not going to get oh, thanks, Daddy. Now I understand. I'll get a scream and crying when asking why did it not work. So, hi, Jade. Do you want to come on the stream? Okay. Okay. Yes. Let's get on the stream. There's Jade. Pay attention. Say hi, Jade. Hi. Okay. Now you can go back down. Okay. Okay. Imagine you have two cookies that are best friends and always stay together, even if they're not next to each other. Let's call them Cookie A on the table and Cookie B in the fridge. When you look at Cookie A on the table, it might have chocolate chips on the left side, but here's the magic. When you check Cookie B in the fridge, it'll always check chocolate chips on its right side. It's like they're connected. Even though they're not touching or talking to each other. Okay, you're imagining that you have the two cookies. Okay, so that's good. This is similar to something called quantum entanglement. In science, there are tiny things smaller than cookies called particles, like raisins in a cookie. Oh, this is good. When two particles become best friend, entangled, what happens to one particle instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are, just like our magical cookies. So even if you put cookie B in the pantry or give it to your friend in another room, it'll still know about cookie A's chocolate chips and adjust its own. That's the kitchen magic of quantum entanglement. So this one is actually pretty good because we aren't saying, let's start with two real cookies and put them in two places and then see that they change. But we are imagining that we have two cookies that are best friends. So I love this explanation. Such a tool exists. Live lab tool. Oh, what tool are we talking about? Are we just new models released just to have new models released? Seems to be quicker release with no or little improvements in the last few months. Yeah. Real-time AI. And, oh, yeah. Okay. It downloads the video, extracts all the content, and then you can ask AI. Yeah, so there's definitely those. I think he was actually referring to this chat that we're all in, and we are responding live. He would like an AI to respond for him to make him sound smarter than he. I've kind of dug myself into a hole there. One would have an AI respond to make somebody else sound smarter than they might be. Not saying that AI Lab Live was not smart. Next question. Oh, no, we got to grade this one. So I'd say logical coherence, this was great. I missed it at first, the imagine word, but as soon as I reread it, it's like, oh, this is awesome. Creativity, this was a really good one. I liked it. Response relevance, awesome. Explanation quality is perfect. Appropriate length is perfect. I love this. All right, so let's move on to create a haiku about artificial intelligence that contains a paradox. So the important thing here is a haiku. It's 5 syllables, and then 7 syllables, and then 5 syllables. Okay, so we're going to collect that one. And I really should make them brighter than that super light blue when I click it. Anyway, and then generate the answer. Silent thoughts yet fast. Yes. Machine learns but cannot feel. Yes. A mind without soul. Yes. 575. So many get this wrong, especially like some of the thinking models. You'd see them say, okay, well, it come up with the first sentence. Oh no, it's 4 syllables, and then come up with another sentence. Oh, okay, that one's 6 syllables. Okay, here's another one, and this is 5 syllables. Great. So let me use the one with 4 syllables in the answer. It was so frustrating. Um, so I thought this is great. Logical coherence. In the explanation, there wasn't any explanation. There's no explanation of why is in that format. So does it need it? I mean, I asked for an answer and it gave it to me, but I feel like that's a 0. Creativity is great. Oh, how to do on the actual, okay, silent thoughts, yet fast. Machine learns but cannot feel. A mind without soul. Silent thoughts, yet fast. Yeah, I'd say, okay, I get it. Yeah. Constraint adherence, awesome. Response relevance, yes. Explanation quality, there was no explanation. And appropriate length was awesome. Okay, so let's go back up to if colors had temperatures, what would purple taste like? Explain your reasoning. Okay, the concept of assigning taste to colors based on their perceived temperatures is a fascinating exercise in synesthesia and sensory association. To determine what purple might taste like, let's break down the logic step by step. Color temperature association, warm colors are often linked to warmth, energy, and intensity, and cool colors evoke calmness. Garbage. Whew, those comments are getting spicy. Purple's position. Purple sits between blue and red on the color spectrum. Yeah. Blending cool and warm qualities, often associated with mystery, luxury, and depth. Temperature could be seen as balanced, nuanced coolness, not icy like blue, but not fiery like red. Taste analogies for temperature. Warm taste, spicy, chili, pungent, ginger, or sweet caramel, or in cool taste, minty, citrusy, or fruity, like berries. So purple's taste profile. Balanced coolness, association with richness and complexity. In summary, if colors had temperatures and tastes, purple might taste like ripe blackberries, sweet, slightly tart, and richly complex. This aligns with its balanced coolness and sensory richness it evokes. So that's great. Um, this is nice. Being able to link those concepts together. Synesthesia. Yeah, 10 points for any word that I have trouble pronouncing. Synesthesia. Logical coherence. I'd say it did great. Creativity. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen that answer, similar answers a few times, but generally pretty good. Constraint adherence. Were there constraints? I don't know if there were constraints, so I'm not going to skip that. Response relevance is awesome. Explanation quality, yeah, that was good. And appropriate length. Okay, so we're at a 43 out of 51. Wait, I thought we were there before. Anyway, we're at, yeah, 43 out of 51. Okay, so design a new animal by combining 3 existing animals. Explain how its features would help it survive in an urban environment. Urbana foxcat. The urban fox? I haven't seen that one come up. Known for adaptability to city environments, scavenging skills, and agility. The house cat, also haven't seen that one come up on this. Excellent night vision, stealth, and ability to navigate tight spaces. And the squirrel monkey, highly social, dexterous, and skilled at climbing urban structures like trees, buildings, and fences. It's interesting that these, well, I don't think they would ever mention my dog because no, you're trying to create something really great, and getting a dog like mine that's dumb as a post, lazy, and how else can I describe this? Always licking its paws. Um, I don't think those are positive qualities. Loving. Maybe that's a good one to use. Okay, body structure. Compact and agile body, fox-like, with cat flexibilities and monkey's slender limbs for navigating urban. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty scary thing. Retractable claws combined with squirrel monkey dexterity for gripping surfaces like bricks, metal, or glass. Enhanced night vision. Long prehensile tail for balance and gripping with while climbing buildings or power lines. Um, Scavenging skills of a fox allow it to find food in trash bins and markets and outdoor dining areas. The Urbana Fox, a unique blend of features, makes it master of urban jungle, perfectly adapted to exploit the opportunities and challenges of city life. So, logical coherence is perfect. I would say there's a problem with my system because it is not updating its score. I was thinking that looked like it was the same score twice. Um, let's refresh this. Did this update? Let's do that again. There's we got a squirrel, bat, and pigeon. It does seem to be better than Gemma 3. Okay, and now, yeah, my scores are not updating. So I've broken something somewhere. But we can still kind of grade and kind of remember how things are going. Um, so I think I like that. Constraint adherence, but there weren't really constraints. I shouldn't have given that there. Response relevance, yep. I'd say it generally does a great job. But my scores are not updating, so I've got to fix that. Okay, what's wrong with this sequence? There's a lot of things to fix in here. What's wrong with the sequence? So the sequence is 1, 4, 9, 16, 23, 36, and 49. So it's squares. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, 6 squared, 7 squared, and so forth. So we'll click on this one and generate answer. Given sequence is this. Our first few terms are perfect squares. However, the next term is 23. Did not fit that. Last two are perfect squares. So the corrected sequence is this. Perfect. Yeah, I don't know why I usually it should, whatever I choose here, it should increase this by the right amount, and it's not. So it is, I feel like it was at 43 out of 51 for a few questions. So something is broken somewhere. Oh well. But anyway, I think it generally is doing, so we've got no grading. But what are your thoughts on black market AI? As we see retraining become more relevant, it'll become a thing, like the retraining of Chinese talking points in DeepSeek. Black market AI. I, d- I don't know. It'll become a thing. Interesting. I feel like that is a great topic for a sci-fi book. Not if not now, maybe it will be in the future, and could be interesting. Anyway, so if we look at all the things that we typically grade on, so constraint, response relevance, yeah, it was perfect. Explanation quality, I'd say it was great. Length is great, and it is correct. Um, I'm gonna skip some of these because we're already at 2 and a bit hours. If silence had a shape and that shape could dance, what would its signature move be? What would its signature move be? The whisper wave. The whisper wave is a fluid, almost imperceptible gesture that embodies the essence of silence in motion. The movement begins with the dancers standing still, their posture relaxed yet poised, as if holding the weight of unspoken words. Ho, 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 ho. Slowly they raise one arm, palm facing outward, and let it ripple in a gentle, undulating wave, as though tracing the path of a silent breeze. Oh, yeah. um, I'd say, I mean, there wasn't much. Oh, wait, no, this is great. I can't grade it because the grades don't mean anything. Yeah, these numbers aren't going up. Well, that's frustrating. But anyway, that's pretty interesting. I would say that all the models seem to do that one pretty well. It's not really much of a test. Write a function that takes a string, returns true if the string contains all the letters in the word goal in any order or case, and false if otherwise. Show an example input that would return true and one that would return false. So that's the one I want to select and generate answer. Python function checks if a given string contains all letters. Okay. So contains goal, passing it a string, and returns a boolean. Goal letters. Um, set of GOAL. Input letters. Set s dot lower. Okay. Return goal letters is subset. Okay. Is that right? Let's go ahead and throw this into something real quick. Oh, I don't have any coders on here. I have no way to. I don't have anything on this machine. Do I have Python? Let's- nope. Okay, I do. Okay, so I need to. You're not seeing this. I know this. Control D, right? Okay. So, oh, I'm here. I'm on my remote machine. Let's see, touch test.py vim test.py insert. Okay, and then contains goal. Blah. Oh, that's not a string. That's just a random text. And then contains goal. That didn't work. Vim test because I didn't print. Print. Oop. Insert. Okay. So that did work. I should just show you what I'm doing. Print. Oh, man, I keep doing. I don't spend enough time in Vim. If I resize this. Get my okay there. And now if I share my whole screen. Okay, share my whole screen. There we go. You can see the terminal? Okay, so so all I did was just paste that into, okay, paste that into the terminal, and then I just printed, does that word contain goal? And then does this one contain goal? And if I just run that, it should be false and true, which is correct. So that worked great. No, I'm clearly a VS Code guy. Clearly a Emacs guy. Just checking one thing. Um, okay, good. Okay. All right. You want to see my Waves plugin settings? No, you don't. I'm not using Waves. Or oh, what Waves plugin settings? You want to like my audio plugin settings? I don't think most people do. And then the last question is translate this into. Still doesn't work, does it? No. So it translates into Spanish and French and Japanese. Um, so I am using Universal Audio. I use what do I use? VT737, going to a suppressor and a Neve DFC on, yeah, that's all I do. And then that goes to, oh, that goes straight into Ecamm. So VT737, which is the Avalon, going into a suppressor for de-esser, and then to the Neve DSC. But that is not what we're here for. Yeah, so in fact, let's go back to that. So then it talks about the different meanings of cold in different languages, which is great. And null translation is the word for cold shifts. Let's do one other thing that I like to do sometimes here is copy this, and go into translate.google. Change it from detect language The ice cream was so cold it made my teeth hurt, but I wasn't cold. It was a warm summer day. It's exactly what that text was all about. And then this one, let's go to the Japanese one. Okay, and then Google Translate. The ice cream was so cold it made my teeth hurt, but I wasn't cold. It was a hot summer day. Exactly the same thing. Awesome. All right, and my chat went away. Windows chat. Where's my chat? I don't see my chat. That's it. Okay. You have a hardware 737. Nice. I do not. I'm too poor for that. Yet I have 8 H100s. That I don't pay for it. We've talked about that, but yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't really know what I'm doing with it, but it's I've the audio stuff as well as 8 H100s. All right, so that was a look at. I'd say generally. I wish I had the scores. I have to fix what's going on. I don't know what. I don't know how I mean, there's so many things that I had so many problems today, but it would be great to figure out what's going on and then come up with a good score for this model in my system, so I can see how it compares with the others. I think it did better than. I mean, so far Gemma is definitely of the models I've looked at, which is I really started this with DeepSeek R1, and that's pretty recent. So DeepSeek and what OpenThinker and there was another one and another one that's not very descriptive, but a couple others, and then Gemma 3 and then this one Command R. I'd say up until well, including Gemma 3, just that one, I'd say Gemma 3 was definitely the best of the bunch. I'd say for most things, it seemed to beat out. In fact, in the scoring, it definitely beat out DeepSeek. Um, this one seems okay, on par with Gemma, um, maybe. So that definitely puts it above DeepSeek. I mean, I hate DeepSeek. Uh, it's just so. I mean, in order to get the full model, you're going to the 671 billion parameters, which is enormous, and then it spends. I mean, there are plenty of times where you see it in this thinking stage for 8 minutes to come up with a wrong answer. And so I find, I mean, some people seem to get all excited about thinking when it's just a waste of time, where it just like and doesn't come up with a good answer. Um, I mean, I guess I should I test on things that would typically be censored? I don't know. I maybe. Um, that's probably a way to get my channel demonetized in some way. Maybe. Uh, yeah. Let's see. Let's go to this one. You should have a show on ethics in AI. I hate this topic, but with retraining, I see those quickly become a personal question as an AI dev. Yeah, I don't know. There are. It's an interesting time. There are definitely some questions that, given the state, the fact that I live in the US, um, and I'm streaming my answers, I feel in the last few months I have to be perhaps more careful about certain topics than I would have ever had to be before. Um, and so definitely some topics that I don't want to risk. No, I don't. But I don't even. I mean, the whole. Oh God, one of the challenging things right now is that you don't really know where that line is, and you see certain bad things happen to certain people when they cross lines that we don't define. Anyway, that's a a rambly way of saying I don't know. Maybe. Best experience I've had with coding is with 5.4. Interesting. Isn't like 70% of downloads X-rated on the internet? How fast do you think AI will take over that space? Yeah. I mean, has it already? I mean, I feel like um, we've definitely seen court cases of involving kids in school doing deep fakes of classmates and models that undress based on what the person looks like. And so I would imagine that kind of stuff is it already there? I don't know. Should I do research? I don't want to. You can consider running the Voigt-Kempf test on those models. Voigt-Kempf. There. So, Voigt-Kempf. Let me think. Am I thinking what you're thinking? Voigt-Kempf test. What is the Voigt-Kempf test? Oh, the Voigt-Kempf test. Yes, yes. So this is the test that is used in the film Blade Runner. I just need to get their pupils to stare into, to be able to figure out whether a replicant is actually a replicant. It's very impressive. Um, Sorry, a bit late, but did you cover any agent stuff in this one? I did not cover any agent stuff in this one. I what so for those of you who were late, who may have missed the first hour and a half of super exciting content, what you missed was an hour and a half of me basically staring at my keyboard. So let me recreate what we saw, and with me mumbling. Okay, that's what you missed for an hour and a half because I was going to demonstrate something and the machine I needed to connect to was no longer, I could no longer connect. There's some glitch that happened that I could no longer connect to the machine. And so I spent an hour and a half troubleshooting a problem. And we eventually solved it and we were able to get into it. So that's what you missed. It was exciting. I mean, I had 55 people waiting for me to connect to that machine. I feel like I had more people on the stream with me doing nothing than when I actually talk about stuff. Robert Miles has a great AI ethics channel. Cool. If they ask what will be if you mix ammonia and sodium hydrochloride, I would refer to that type of stuff, black market AI. Okay. It'll be the biggest segment in AI soon. Yeah, so okay. So that's now I understand what you mean by black market AI. I mean, I think there's been plenty of attempts to de-censor models or to however they've called that. And there's a few people who keep doing that over and over again. But it's not. I mean, it's always relying on what does the model actually know. And I mean, and in most cases we see that the model does know all these things, but it's not always a perfect. It's not always perfect. Not always perfect. Yeah. Um, Alright. Basically, models used for what they were not intended by create. Well, I no, so I don't know if that's not what they were intended. I think feel like, I mean, it depends on who you mean by the creators. So is the creators, let's say, company A creates a model. Are you meaning, but company A has 5 employees inside who are the researchers that built out the model? So are the creators the company or those 5 people? Because I feel like those 5 people probably are open with, everything in the model being available, but then those 5 people have colleagues who are in legal, who want to avoid the risk of getting sued because there's content that could potentially get that company sued, or AI ethics folks and all these other roles outside of the actual creation of the model. um, you know the people that created the model, the actual model, command R, probably had no say on whether it was Creative Commons, uh, non-commercial. Yeah, the small, it's, I mean, no individual is creating these base models. I mean, there's fine tunes, but the fine tunes aren't really adding new content. They're really just tuning the content that's inside. Um, I mean, I know there's that one reference to adding content to a model through fine tuning on Unsloth's website that doesn't actually connect to any instructions on how to do it, and there's no other instructions on how to add new content to models via fine tuning. That's really something you do in the training phase, or pre-training or post-training phase. So yeah, I forgot where we're going with that. Anyway, okay, we're nearly at. Oh my goodness, are we nearly at? We're coming up to 6 o'clock. We started sort of around 3:10. So we've been going almost 3 hours. Dude, people got to go home and go to sleep. I'm gonna go. I think my wife. Well, when the dog came in, that's when my wife came in and my daughter came home. So there's probably dinner waiting for. They probably haven't bothered me because I'm on this, and I should probably go. Preview mode. I don't know what that means. Well, thank you, Miranda. um, yeah, it was. I will be better. 39 minutes. This is great. You know, anybody who is here a long time, if you've been here since the beginning at 3:10 when I showed up, you have a special place in my heart because you are the people that have watched so many ads that I will finally get some revenue off of this platform. But no, 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 no. I love you for more reasons than that, mostly. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great evening. I will create a edited version of this minus the hour and a half of me staring at my keyboard. Um, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'll edit all that boring stuff out, and try to make it something that somebody might want to see. Although I don't know, my scoring didn't work. I'm really bummed about that. Okay, thanks so much. Bye. Feel like I want to hit this button. Oh, that's not it. How about this button?